Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Institute for Australian and Chinese Arts and Culture at Western Sydney University. My name is Jing Han. I'm the director of this institute. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that today's event is being held on the land of the Darug people of the Darug Nation, whose ancestors have been the traditional owners of their land for thousands of years. And we would like to pay our respect to the First Nations elders, past, present, and emerging. Welcome to the launch of Tianli Zu's solo exhibition, Shadow World. Dr. Tianli Zu, born in Beijing, is a highly successful multimedia artist in Australia. While a fine art, very much like music, relies a lot on natural talent, knowledge, training, and education, either through self-education or institute education, are also key to the success. All the well-established artists I know of are highly knowledgeable, extremely well-read, and well-educated, and Tianli is one of them. Firstly, anyone who got into the Fine Arts School affiliated to China Central Academy of Fine Arts, 中央美院附中, is an envy to the whole nation. Tianli then got into and graduated from Central Academy of Fine Arts in Beijing, the China's most prestigious and renowned art academy. Not surprisingly, after moving to Australia in 1988, Tianli got her Master of Fine Arts and a PhD from the Sydney College of Arts at the University of Sydney in 2010. Since then, Tianli has been exhibiting in national and regional galleries, museums, and many art institutions. Her works have been seen and loved by many viewers. She has also received many awards, which you will see in the bio. Today, we are very pleased to gather here to celebrate Tianli's stunning new solo exhibition specifically created for IAC Art Space. We all know the importance of arts and culture, but getting and giving support to arts and culture is easier said than done. Western Sydney University is one of the largest universities in Australia. While I do get to see the Vice-Chancellor at our senior leaders' meetings, I'm acutely aware that so many people, so many places, and so many matters need the Vice-Chancellor's attention, attendance, time, and support. Not on a daily basis, but on an hourly basis. So we are thrilled and very grateful that the Vice-Chancellor is here to open the new exhibition. Please welcome the Vice-Chancellor and the President of Western Sydney University, Professor Barney Glover, AO, to give the opening speech.
Thank you, Jing. That was a lovely introduction, and I'm never too busy to come over and visit. You know that. I dropped in when Tian was actually putting the exhibition up, as she was hanging, I think, the bee. Were they the bees? You were hanging the bees, and I just happened to walk up and say hello, so it was wonderful to come over here. And we have a few chairs here. If people would like to come down and sit, please do so. It's great to see so many people here today for what is a really exciting opening of this exhibition. I'd like to begin by acknowledging myself, to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting today for this great event, the Barramatical people of the Darug Nation, to acknowledge their elders past and present, and a particularly warm welcome to anyone of Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander descent who is with us today in the audience. A particular welcome to you. Now, we've also got a number of VIPs. I'd just like to, special guests, I'd like to acknowledge, before I say a few words, Professor Brett Summerall, who is the Director of Research and the Chief Scientist at the Australian Institute of Botanical Science and the Royal Botanic Gardens. Wonderful to have you here, Brett. The Institute has an advisory board that works tirelessly to support Jing, and I wanted to acknowledge the members of the advisory board who are here. Kevin Hopwood-Brown here in the front row. Kevin, good to see you. Sally Beaumont, I think Sally's here. Hi Sally, good to see you. Dr. Guan Wei, good to see you, Guan Wei. And always love to call you Dr. Guan Wei, one of our honorary doctors in the creative arts here at the university. Ariel Zhang as well. Ariel is here, I think, somewhere. Great to have Ariel here. Also acknowledging Ms. Min Kiao, the curator of Chinese art at the Art Gallery of New South Wales. Dr. Lewis Guest, art critic and researcher, who's written about Tian's work. Shen Jiawei is here. Shen is here somewhere. I know I saw you earlier. Great to have you here. Wonderful artist in his own right. And I had the great privilege of unveiling a portrait by Shen Jiawei recently of one of our great philanthropic supporters of the university, Dr. Judy Jacker. So it was a beautiful portrait. Thank you, Shen Jiawei. Jackie Menzies, the President of the Asian Arts Society of Australia. Of course, Professor Jing Han, our member of the Arts Association, but of course our director here at the Institute. Jenny Gu, the President of the Australian Chinese New Arts Society. We have a number of members of the university community here. I won't go through all of them, but I did want to acknowledge Dola Merrilees, who's here in the second row from the front. Dola, of course, is the Director of Western Sydney Creative, our fabulous program for connecting with the arts and culture of Western Sydney, and doing a wonderful job. Great to have Dola here supporting us today. And I think Brian Stout's here somewhere. Brian is our Dean of the School of Science, but Social Sciences, but importantly the Pro-Vice Chancellor of our Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences cluster. But most importantly, of all of the important people I've just listed, Tian is here, of course, Dr. Tianli Zhu. And Tian, we heard a little about Tian a moment ago, but I don't think Jing mentioned the most important thing that Tian has done, which is to paint my portrait. And which I was so fortunate that our previous curator at the university, Monica McMahon, suggested this fabulous Chinese Australian artist who might just be willing to paint my portrait, as challenging as that would be to paint my portrait. And it hangs in the Chancellery. So if anyone has an opportunity to wander into the Chancellery, you'll see alongside the portrait of the Chancellor, Peter Shergold, my portrait is hanging there, and it's Tian's great work. It's a great portrait. I'm very proud of it, and wonderful to have a chance to be here today with Tian. So I want to welcome everybody here to the university, to our Parramatta South Campus, and to the Institute for Australian and Chinese Arts and Culture. Great to have you here in this space. Great to see this space being used by people again after the challenges of the last couple of years. Now, we all know in this room that Australia is home to more than 1 million people of Chinese descent with a wide range of identities, backgrounds and views. And the Institute focuses on developing deeper ties with emerging Chinese arts and culture in Australia, with a particular focus on developing relationships with a new generation of artists and writers of Chinese heritage. And Jing has done a wonderful job in making those connections. The Institute engages with arts and culture institutions, researchers and practitioners in Australia, mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan and around the world. The Institute, under Jing's fabulous leadership, has achieved remarkable successes despite the challenges of the past 3 years, with the impacts of the COVID pandemic and of course the geopolitical challenges that we face. And I think in some ways the activities of the last 3 years have been an extraordinary example of the way Jing can reach out to the community here in Australia, continue those connections internationally and ensure that the Institute actually thrives during a difficult period. So I do want to pay tribute. There were, as we all remember, there were the interstitial moments in this pandemic when we came out of lockdown, and any time we did in that last 2 years, Jing was there with some activity somewhere, socially distanced as it might have had to have been, but always looking for opportunities to continue to promote the Australia-China connection in arts and culture. And the Institute, most importantly, has produced a series of influential exhibitions showcasing brilliant artworks of emerging as well as well-established Chinese Australian artists. I think this space here in this building has been used remarkably well since we refocused on the Institute and its work. And this is quite mesmerising, I think, to have running on the screen as I'm speaking. I think it's distracting everyone from my eloquent words. But now, of course, we're privileged today, I'm privileged today, to be able to launch this very distinctive solo exhibition by the award-winning artist Dr. Tianli. Tian's new works, which have been created specifically for the IAC space that you see beside us in here, have close alignment with the theme of sustainability and resonate with the university, given our recent success, as Jing mentioned, in being ranked #1 in the world by the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings for our commitment to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And that's quite an achievement for a university as young as we are, only 33 years of age since we were established in 1989, and to have a great core commitment to sustainability, something that we appreciated within the university, but until we had an opportunity to submit our work for assessment at the international level, we didn't know how we compared with others. But it turns out we're #1 in the world, and that's extraordinary. And it's over 1,500 universities were assessed in that Times Higher Education Impact Ranking. So it's not a small ranking system, and it's growing every year. It's doubled in size over the last 4 years. More and more universities around the world want to demonstrate they're committed to the Sustainable Development Goals. Broadly, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So it's great to see the things that we do inside the university that connect with sustainability. And again, there are ways for us to demonstrate the depth of activity, not just in science where we're doing work on climate change, but here in the arts and culture. So important to bring to life sustainability challenges through the arts. So we're very fortunate to be here for the Shadow World exhibition. Tian's exhibition, Shadow World, brings viewers' attention to pressing issues around climate change and sustainability. What makes Tian's art unique and special is that she combines science and art, demonstrating environmental urgency and the survival of our planet. For example, her series of After Black Summer consists of 9 hand cuts of native Australian plants in bloom, reflecting on the recent period of bushfires and flooding experienced in Australia. Tian has also expanded on the centuries-old Chinese art form of paper cutting in a contemporary Australian setting. Her paper cutting reflects on nature's dual role of destruction and regeneration. She's worked closely with Brett in understanding Australian native plants and forming her scientifically informed approaches to the environment. We will hear more about those collaborations in their conversation to come. Another unique feature of Tian's art is a representation of oscillating forces, such as light and shadow, yin and yang, and her integration of Chinese folklore, contemporary traditions, and technological innovation. And people might know that Tian works across many forms of art and media, not simply in the paper cut form, but also portraits, clearly, as well as many other forms of art, but very much in the multimedia context, from a very talented family. As we can see today, Tian's art is visually stunning, thought-provoking, and it turns this gallery into an immersive space. Since the exhibition was installed just a few weeks ago, when I stumbled in here to notice it going up and almost startled Tian into falling off her ladder as she was putting up a little bee, we have had literally dozens and dozens of visitors and students and staff discovering this exhibition accidentally. And in some ways, that's the best way to find things, to discover them accidentally rather than beginning with an understanding and then coming along, but to discover them accidentally. The Institute, of course, in partnership with Dollar and Western Sydney Creative, will also organise hands-on paper cutting workshops for students, staff and community members, led by Dr. Tianli. The workshops will allow participants to learn to make art in the style of traditional Chinese paper cutting techniques. Now, I have seen the most extraordinary paper cuts that Tian has done. The ones you're seeing next door are examples of that, but there are some on a scale that is just extraordinary. And I once, when I was having a sitting for my portrait, one of those great moments when you you'll all have your portraits painted one day, I'm sure. And when you do, with the great artists, occasionally they need you to turn up and just make some adjustments to the painting. But when I had that opportunity, Tian was showing me some of her artwork and some of the paper cuts, and they were so extraordinary. And I inquired about the exquisiteness of them and the complexity of the paper cuts. But Tian was explaining she started in one corner and just found her way intricately through to the far corner of this giant paper cut. And it's extraordinary to imagine the visual elements of that, to understand how to navigate through the paper cut and to be so exquisite and precise and to create what we're seeing beside us. And as I was saying to Tian earlier, as a mathematician, I look for symmetry and asymmetry, and to look at the beautiful almost symmetry, but not quite symmetry, which is such an important part of the imperfections we see in life and in nature. Things are not always symmetric, and it's wonderful to see that in those great paper cuts. So I want to particularly congratulate Tian on this wonderful, wonderful exhibition. It's great to have it here. I know we've had an exhibition of Tian's in the Margaret Whitlam Galleries, which was that pre-COVID, Tian? Yeah, it was pre-COVID. It was a great exhibition in the Margaret Whitlam Gallery. So it's great to have you back post whatever it is we're post, by the way. I'm not saying it's post-COVID, it's post something related to COVID. I want to thank in particular Jing and the team here in the Institute, a great team of supporters around Jing. When we talk about the Institute, occasionally people believe because of the volume of work that is achieved that it's obviously a team of people, dozens of them like Jing. It's not, it's largely Jing who just has this enormous energy level. So Jing, thank you, and all of your colleagues who are here supporting volunteers for the vision and the incredible hard work that goes into putting on an exhibition like this. Thanks to everyone for attending today. I am sure you're going to enjoy all facets of the exhibition, and importantly, happy Moon Festival as well. So thank you.